is there a tech lobby? Yeah, there's a tech lobby. Let me tell you one of the things that's been in the news that I know you've discussed, Palantir, right? And the contracts that they're getting, $113 million to create this database on Americans. And I know you asked someone.
Yeah, I did. I asked JD Vance about Palantir because I'm scared of it, right?
Yeah.
This is just on my thing. That's so crazy, dude. We are like, this is bananas. I asked JD Vance about Palantir because I'm scared of it. I felt like he gave kind of a political answer to me, right? Which is no judgment. That's what I felt like. I want our listeners to know why I'm concerned. Well, one of the reasons is that Palantir got a $795 million contract with the U.S. Army for the Maven Smart System, which is using artificial intelligence tools for data fusion and target identification. And then a $30 million contract from the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement to develop an operating system that identifies undocumented immigrants and tracks self-deportations. So one of the things that's going on is that it feels like to me that they are asking they've granted Palantir the opportunity to create this overall database. And that is one thing that JD did talk about. So maybe he didn't give that just a political answer. He said he believes that it's just an overall database where like the local police department will now have them and the IRS, everything will be synced up so that if you're involved in something in the world, all the databases will be linked, right? Now, I felt like he would maybe know more about it because he has a relationship with this guy, Peter Thiel, who is one of the founders of it or something, but I don't know if that's true, right? And maybe he didn't give me a political answer. I think it felt, I don't know. You know what? Maybe it's just, it wasn't the exact answer I wanted, right? And so that's why I'm kind of framing it like that. So yeah, I don't want to say that. It just felt, I think it wasn't kind of what I wanted to hear, but that's also part of diplomacy, right? It's like, I learned that recently. It's like everything is, you're not going to get everything, right? Nobody gets everything. But anyway, that's what it said. It was this overall database. And to me, I'm thinking, dude, if they have an overall database, right? And they know they're going to know everything. To me, it feels like that they'll just have this, like all your information, your bank card, your blood type. They'll know if you prayed this morning. They'll know just by like biometrics or whatever. If you've hit your knees, they'll know if you're feeling hopeful. They'll know all of these things, right? What are things that we don't see coming from this Palantir deal? Do you think that those fears are realistic? What do you think?
Well, I'm concerned. Let me tell you how I see the facts. First of all, I don't want to dunk on the vice president because I saw some of the interview, and I love the fact that you have people here of different viewpoints. But he's got a particular view. I mean, Peter Thiel founded Palantir. Peter Thiel also, I mean, it's public record, put $15 million into his campaign.
Innovation campaign. Yeah, we talked about that.
To make him a senator. So I'm not questioning him. I'm just saying he's got a view of a relationship with Palantir. And we've got to figure out what are the objective facts. I mean, the Palantir was founded by Peter Thiel. And it was founded by CIA's In-Q-Tel, right? This is what funds it.
CIA's, what do you mean?
The CIA has a venture capital firm called In-Q-Tel.
In-Q-Tel.
They gave the money initially for Palantir.
Okay.
There's certain things that Palantir does that are important to our country. They're using AI for military applications so that our fighter pilots can identify targets, right? We need certain things to make sure that we're the leading military in the world. The problem is on this database that they're creating about Americans, right? And here's what they can do. They're not collecting the data. They keep saying, I'm a data aggregator. That means they're creating the program, the software, where the government puts in the data, your financial records, your health records, your employment records. They can buy your social media records, and they put it in, and Palantir spits out information. Now, let me give you a concrete example of why this could be dangerous. Let's say you're a comedian. You know comedians, right? My guess is before you became Theo Von, there were times where as a comedian you did shows that made you maybe $5,000 a night, and maybe then you'd go a while and not make anything or make $500, right? You got good shows, bad shows.
Yeah. I mean, we made $100, yeah, for sure.
And I'm sure you still have friends who are in stand-up comedy and who have good nights and bad nights. Now, Palantir, this database, suddenly flags and does an algorithm. And if someone's having income here and there, they say, well, is this person a risk for tax evasion? And suddenly they're getting audited because they're making a predictive model that stand-up comedians should be making $70,000 a year, and this person isn't disclosing their income. Are they a risk? We don't know with Palantir, what their algorithm is targeting. Are they targeting ordinary people who have incomes that are variable? Or are they targeting the billionaires who are evading taxes? It's just a black box. We don't know what data of your friends or my friends is being collected and whether they're actually creating a database. All we need to do is have transparency. I have 3 simple things that I think we should be able to get consensus around. Your data should not be collected without your consent. You need to know what data of yours the federal government has. The federal government should not have any of your data that they don't absolutely need to provide you a service. And then when Palantir, we should know what their algorithms are. Are they doing this to audit people who are like making 50 grand because they're accusing them of tax evasion? Are they targeting their algorithms on the very rich or on ordinary folks? What if you have a social media post that says things that are critical of the government? Is that information now the government has? It's like a whole black box.
Yeah. It's very scary. It's very scary too, because what if another country says, hey, Palantir, you're our friends. Why don't you target these people in America so we can start to bring them down, right? Why don't you start to adjust their scores? Hey, why don't you make it so that it makes it look like these people have already paid their taxes if they haven't, you know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
There's just all these little things that could be plausible based on whoever owns the information. Like whoever owns Palantir, whoever owns that algorithm is going to be able to basically puppeteer so many things that could be possible. And even if they're not doing it, there's the fear that they could be doing it.
There's the fear they could. And there are no laws right now, right? We need laws saying, show us your algorithms, have an audit of the algorithms. Who are you targeting? How do we make sure that you're not using this in a negative way? And basically, like, Americans should know what data people have about them.
I agree with you 100%, man. And I want to say this also, and I don't want like a company like Palantir to think like you're bullying me or you're doing this or that. They just happen to be the company that has been picked, and it's a scary time. It's already so scary with like technology, everything happening so fast. It's spooky. Right?
And you have a nuanced view. Look, I have a nuanced view. There's things that Palantir does that are important for our military. Like just saying, oh, Palantir is all bad would be unfair to what they're doing on the pandemic. They helped with distribution, or what they've done on the military. The point is, though, this American database building is scary, and trying to predict whether someone is being a tax delinquent or not, trying to predict if they're going to be a financial risk, trying to figure out a profile on them. And what we need, I really blame the lawmakers, because what we need is the laws to protect people's privacy, to protect people's data, to protect the use of these algorithms.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And we're going to get to that. I know you have the Internet Bill of Rights, and so we're going to get to that in a second. Yeah, this is the push. I want to say this. The push has put a key Palantir product called Foundry into at least 4 federal agencies, including DHS, HHS, and others. Widely adopting Foundry, which organizes and analyzes data, paves the way for Mr. Trump to easily merge information from different agencies, the government officials said. And that's what J.D. Vance said when he was here, right? He was saying, and I'm reading that off of the New York Times, give or take what you think about them. But that's what J.D. Vance had said, that he thought it was just this overall compiling, this kind of aggregating of information, right? He didn't think it would get super specific. So I don't think it felt a little political to me, but that also could just be what he exactly believes, and that could be exactly what's happening. I think there's just a lot of fear with it. It says in here also, creating detailed portraits of Americans based on government data is not just a pipe dream. The Trump administration has already sought access to hundreds of data points on citizens and others through government data databases, including their bank account numbers, the amount of their student debt, medical claims, disability status, et cetera. So this will just, I mean, I think this whole thing just goes further down that line. And I don't even, of just like knowing everything about everyone. And I don't even think that it's Republican or Democrat. I just think it's where we are in time right now with technology, and that it's very scary, and that you can start to see how big the tech lobby is. I want to say this. One thing about Palantir, though, that a lot of people have had issues with is what they're doing in Gaza, right? With AI targeting. And this is off of, I read this online, and so that makes it probably uncredible. But allegedly, Palantir software is reportedly used by the Israeli military to help select targets in Gaza. Its data mining and AI systems can process intelligence reports, communication intercepts, and surveillance data to generate lists of potential targets in a matter of minutes, a process that previously took hours. Lavender and Habsora, which are two of their kind of, I guess, programs or overall idea names. And Habsora means the gospel. Investigations indicate that two AI systems, Lavender and Habsora, are at the core of this collaboration. Lavender assigns Palestinians a threat score based on metadata, social media, and movement patterns. These systems reportedly operate with significant error margins, and their recommendations can be enough to authorize deadly strikes, sometimes with minimal human oversight. Gaza is described as a live laboratory for these AI technologies where new systems are trained, tested, and refined in real-time combat conditions before being marked globally as battle-tested solutions. I think that's where a lot of the fear is.
It really is.
If that can happen there and they're capable of that, then how do I know if when I'm walking down the street that some decision I made years ago or something, a bullet's not just going to fly out of anywhere and go through my head from a drone or something, you know? That I think is the big fear about this. And I think some people don't even know it.
I think the big fear with technology.
Is that crazy for me to say that?
No, I mean, I don't think it's crazy to fear that machines should not control human beings, right? I mean, look, technology can do a lot of good. It can do a lot of bad. But the key principle here is, are human beings going to be in charge? From what you described, it looks like that AI is being used. They're selecting targeting. And the biggest negative in that whole paragraph you read is without human oversight. I mean, You still need a human being saying, okay, wait, we're not just going to go do strikes because AI tells us there's a risk. There's some women and children there. Let's not have those strikes. There's a hospital there, right? And I think that one of the things we need to adopt for the United States is there has to be a human being making decisions before any military use, any military strike.
Yeah, at least give me the fat guy with the donut sitting there to be like, nah, forget it. Nah.
It's like we're now going to be, we're celebrating. I'd rather have a human being, right? Because there's some compassion.
I agree.
There's some sense of guilt. AI is not going to feel guilty. AI is not going to feel a compassion. AI is not going to have any accountability.
AI doesn't even go to sleep at night. How can you trust something that doesn't even go to sleep at night?
Right.
You know, that doesn't even give God a chance to rebuild the inside of it while it's resting.
That's pretty beautiful. Yeah.
I do not understand this, man. You talked about an internet bill of rights, right? Which you tried to pass, I'm guessing, or tell me about that. Tell me a little bit about that experience and why do we need that? Do you feel like we already answered that or no?
I could go do it briefly. I mean,
okay.
There's a guy, Tim Berners-Lee. You should have him on sometime.
Tim, what's his name?
Tim Berners-Lee. He is the founder, basically, of the World Wide Web.
Wow.
He's one of the people who made the internet the internet.
Oh.
And I'm sure he was like knighted or something. And, so he and I talked, and we came out with this Internet Bill of Rights. When you remember that Facebook Cambridge Analytica scandal where people lost their data on Facebook and profiles were made. Mm-hmm. And basically it said, in this country, no one should take your data without your consent.
Agreed.
And you should know where your data is. I mean, there are other parts of it, but it's like pretty simple. You own your data, you control your data, and you should know what's happening with your data. And I think, and by the way, you should be compensated to some extent for the use of your data if you consent. There should be a data dividend in this country. And I think that is not a partisan issue. It is an issue that's going to become increasingly important with things like this database that may be being made. Like, you should know. Do you know, Theo, right now what the government knows about you? Do you know if there's a profile on you? Do you know, like, what if that database is wrong?
Well, Pisces, I know that. I'm trying to think of what else. I don't know. Yeah.
Like, you should know. Yeah. You should be able to consent. You should be able to get something deleted if they have an incorrect information. And what that applies to the government, and it applies to big corporations. I don't want Google having some profile on Khanna. I mean, so we introduced this in 2017. Wow. 2017. Congress to this day has not been able to introduce or pass any Internet Bill of Rights. There are no protections. You know, when Josh Hawley—
When you say there's no protections, oh, you're just meaning there's no protections for people.
I mean, no protection for people. Josh Hawley once, and there are places where I actually agree with Hawley, he had Mark Zuckerberg stand up and apologize
to those parents behind him.
Parents.
I saw that.
And someone said to me, you know what he should have also done? He should have had the whole Congress stand up and apologize. The problem isn't just these tech companies, it's the Congress. We've had this stuff going on for 10 years, and Congress has not passed an Internet Bill of Rights. And one of the things I say is, like, I know these people. I know how they think. They're going to run circles around you. You got to hold them accountable. Have the tech guy saying, hold them accountable.
Why won't they do it? The same reason as before?
Why won't the tech companies do it?
Who's lobbying? Who's lobbying against them? Big tech?
It's tech lobbying. It's internet service provider lobbying. Wow. It's these lobbyists, and they don't want. And we haven't. I mean, can you imagine this country that has a constitution that is a country founded on freedom, and we don't have any federal legislation saying you own your data?